guys, Scavenger Reviews here, and this is my theory. I've seen things similar to it before, but I've never seen, like, this specific theory on Star Wars before, but I'm sure it's out there. I don't know what that was. Anyways, I think Anakin killed Padme. Hear me out. So, in Revenge of the Sith, because I just recently rewatched that for its 20th anniversary, whoop whoop, you know, in Revenge of the Sith, you get the classic line, she seems fine, but it seems like she's lost the medically she's fine, but she's lost the will to live. She's dying of sadness. Okay, maybe that last part wasn't the line, but we underestimated Anakin's power and we underestimated Padme's sadness. I think Anakin killed her. I think Anakin was so, and I don't mean from choking. I think Anakin was so focused on her and so focused on her life force that he held on to her life force while he was about to die. Because you gotta think, he got 3 of his limbs cut off, he burned in lava, and he's getting basically tortured, like with all these, screws screwed into him and stuff like that. They kind of breeze over it in the movie because, it is a PG-13 movie. But look up specifically the scene from The Surge. It's a PS4, Xbox One game, like kind of like a Souls game, but you're fighting robots instead. Look up the intro to that, where like you get the mech suit screwed into you. That's the shit that was going on, but they just couldn't show it to us because it didn't want to get that dark, but it's like screwed into him and shit like that. So obviously, until they get his life, stabilized and stuff like that, he's going to be teetering on the edge of dying. I'm sure there was a point where they were like, "Oh shit, check the stabilizers, whatever." And y'all ever seen Kung Fu Panda? You know how at the end of the first Kung Fu Panda, uh, not Jack Black, Poe. I mean, it is Jack Black, but Poe gets Tai Lung's thumb or his finger. I mean, and he's like, "Psh." He's like, "The Wuxi finger hold. Shifu didn't teach you that. You're bluffing." And he's like, "No, I figured it out. Skidoosh, I think it's that, but Anakin fucked it up. I think Anakin was so fucking confident that he just tried to figure out how to save people from death, Darth Plagueis style. And that he was focusing so much on Padme. I mean, think about it. The very first line he says when he becomes Darth Vader, like, Palpatine is there and he's like, "Rise, Lord Vader," or whatever the fuck he says, I don't remember. He doesn't say shit about his suit, he doesn't say shit about where am I. He says, "Where's Padme?" That's the only thing on that man's mind is where's Padme. And that's because he was focusing on her. And he kind of figured out the life trick, but fucked it up and took her life force, giving it to himself, And then because of, women can just die in childbirth. Like, that shit happens all the time. Like, if you die in childbirth, like, rip bozo, but not me. I wouldn't let that happen to me. Just saying. But, that being said, my mom almost died in childbirth twice. And technically, I killed it. Her heart did flatline when she gave birth to me. And it flatlined for I think 20 seconds, which is a lot of time. Or maybe 15 seconds. But that's still a lot of time to just not have a pulse. To just not have a ding, 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 15, 20 seconds, whatever it was. Holy shit, I killed my mom. He just like me for real, except Anakin didn't kill his mom. His mom died, but he definitely killed some moms, you know, and some kids, and some dads, you know, sons, daughters, all of them. But that is my theory, because you literally see, like, shot from shot of, like, Anakin struggling and, like, you know, screaming in pain and stuff like that, as you see Padme struggling and screaming in pain from giving birth and stuff like that, and they show you, like, parallels. Literally, like, from this angle, you see, like, Anakin, and then from, like, slightly this angle, you see Padme. I'm sure that was, like, really weird angle, but whatever. You know, you see them both, and it's both meant to parallel her death and her life. Now, I don't think this was necessarily George Lucas's intention. I don't know. I don't know if this is, like, secretly there all along. This is my headcanon. This is what I think when I watch the movie. I'm not trying to. Your theory is probably right too. You know what I'm saying? But that's my headcanon. Every time I watch Revenge of the Sith, is that Anakin is holding on to her so tightly in her life force and her energy, or her, you know, midichlorians or what the fuck ever, you know, and that is what causes him to live and Padme to die. And I also think that works so poetically, you know, because he was so adamantly focused on keeping her alive, did everything, you know, that he did, all to keep her alive. That's why he sided with Palpatine in the first place, you know, and like decided when Mace Windu died, and it was like, what have I done? You know, blah blah blah. You know, everything he did was for Padme. You know, not a single thing was like, oh, I'll be able to rule the galaxy. And then when he did say that, he was like, me and you will rule the galaxy. You know, he's like talking to Padme. He's like, I'll overthrow the Chancellor, and we'll rule the galaxy together. We can turn it into what we wanted, you know, and everything like that. And, you know, what is more poetic than that? You know? The thing he wanted most, he ruined for himself. You know, he took it away from himself because Anakin was like just going crazy, you know, a little bit. I love him, he's my boy, but Anakin was kind of going fucking crazy and losing his mind. Dude was going like full Gary Busey before Gary Busey was Gary Busey, you know what I'm saying? Because like long time ago, Galaxy Far Far Away, I know like Gary Busey was around in the 2000s. But yeah, that's it. That's my theory. Basically, sum it up. Anakin figured out the keep people from dying. There's a fucking fly in here. I hate that. Is it a fly? I don't know what that is. No, it's a fly. Anyways, um, Anakin figured out the life thing, but he fucked it up, and he actually killed Padme. You know, drained her life force to preserve his, even though he was trying, probably, who knows, to do the exact opposite, you know? I'm really sure that if it came to it, Anakin would absolutely sacrifice himself for Padme. If he could have done the swap of that, he would have in a heartbeat if he knew what he was doing and knew how to do what he wanted to do. He would have done the swap of that to save Padme and himself die. But that didn't happen because he fucked it up. And who knows, maybe even if you really want to get headcanon-y, Palpatine was there the whole time. Maybe he, you know, did one of his things. Nah, I don't think that. But I'm just saying you could think that, but I don't think that. Alright, well, that's been my video. Super short one, but just wanted to get that out there, because I've had this thought, headcanon, theory, whatever, for like a while now. Come here. You should have been here the whole time. Look, me kitty. Mwah. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about all I have to say. Oh, fine, then fuck you too. Follow me on Scavenger Reviews on Instagram and give me a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Like, seriously, comment, please. Tell me what you think. Do you have another theory? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? If you think I'm wrong, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I'm not here to disprove anybody's own headcanon. This is my headcanon, in my head. But let me know. Yeah, peace.